Hey everyone, I'm the Rev, and on the 9th of December, Le Mans Ultimate is going to be updated to version 1.2, and the update is massive, absolutely massive. There's new content, there's new features, and there's new tweaks. It's going to be brilliant. So you're going to get Paul Ricard. Personally, cannot stand this circuit. I find it really difficult to know where you're going. The off-track paint just messes with my head for some reason, but I'm sure I'm going to learn to love it. We're going to get another LMP3 car. We're going to get the Ginetta. Now, it's got a great big, ginormous, huge, long name, but for me, it's just going to stay as a Ginetta LMP3. Looks like a great little car, same Toyota engine as the last LMP3. In terms of visual style, it looks nicer looking than the Ligier in my opinion, and Ginetta have just done a better job on the styling. Great car, can't wait to see some of the custom liveries that you guys are going to come up with for that. It's going to be brilliant. In terms of the content, it comes within the ELMS Season Pass if that's what you've already got, and if not, it'll be roughly priced at $9.99 depending on where you are in the world for the car and the track. In terms of other tweaks for 1.2, one of the main features is going to be what they're calling real road and tyres, which basically means the rubber buildup on the surface of the track is now more realistic. So there's actually a wider rubber buildup, so there's a bit more grip offline now than there was, or a little bit further offline. Within the braking zones, there should be more consistency and more grip, whether it's a long braking zone or a short braking zone. There should be more consistency there within the grip levels. And there should be more consistency from track to track, because sometimes I feel like the LMDH cars, for example, they may be a little bit sketchier on, say, Spa, for example, than they are on Bahrain, or vice versa. So now there should be more consistency across all the circuits. And in terms of a wet track, that's now more realistic in the fact that there's more grip on an unorthodox, more wet line than there is on the regular dry line where there's been a build-up of rubber. So that's now more realistic. These improvements, they're going to be for both offline and online. So when you're in an online session, you should now see greater consistency when it comes to the build-up of rubber on the track over a period of time. Now, this is a massive one for me, but now the rims, in terms of how hot the rim gets, is now going to be transferred to the tyre. So now when you're warming your brakes, for example, in the pit lane, the heat that you build up and that you generate in the brakes is going to be dispersed into the tyre, which basically should make for a more consistent tyre warming feel. I personally think that's absolutely awesome. Sometimes I struggle on the Mon Ultimate to get the tyres up to temperature, and I've been wishing for this feature for a while, so the fact that it's now implemented, that's fantastic. Cannot wait to see that. There's also going to be some performance improvements for those on lower end GPUs. So now the texture streaming, that's been improved, so you should be able to run at higher textures. Any kind of performance improvements, always welcome. So for those with lower end GPUs, you should now be able to run your textures that little bit higher, which just improves the look of your game. Now, this is absolutely huge. Now, the online racing in Le Mans Ultimate, if you get a good race, for me, it's unmatched. However, there's also huge issues when it comes to people driving like bellends. But thankfully, Studio 397 have been listening, and we should be getting some features that's going to help us with these people. Now, they're going to be implementing a badge system. Now, that basically means that when you race online, you'll be given a particular badge. Those badges, for example, you can get a rookie badge, a probation badge, a warning badge, a good driver badge, a trusted driver badge, a real driver, well, looking forward to seeing some of those, and content creator, which is awesome for me. So due to the standard of your driving, you'll be assigned one of those badges. So those people around you, they will know what kind of driver you are. They're going to know that you're a rookie driver, for example, and that way, hopefully, they can give you a little bit of leeway when it comes to making mistakes or a little bit of contact. And hopefully, that'll just improve your experience as a rookie and help you and give you that space to learn. So for the first 10 races after the update, you'll receive a rookie badge. And then when they've gathered data on how you drive, you'll then be assigned the particular badge that suits your driving. So if you get a warning badge and you continue to drive in that manner, you will be banned from the service. And then on coming back from your ban, you'll be given a probation badge. And whilst you are on probation, that's for you to prove and show that you don't drive like that anymore. And that way then you can go on and enjoy the service and become a good driver or a trusted driver. Or you can end up getting another warning and then get another ban. And that ban will be longer than the first ban. And the bans gradually get larger until eventually you're banned from the service completely. And that's exactly as it should be. If you want to get a content creator badge, then it's not just automatically assigned to you. I won't get a content creator badge just because I create content. I have to drive those 10 races really well and get a good or trusted driver badge, and then I'm able to change it to content creator. I don't get a pass just because I'm a content creator, which is exactly as it should be. And apparently they've already been tracking this data in relation to how we drive for the last couple of weeks. So on the 9th of December, when some of us load the game up, if they've gathered enough data on us, we'll automatically get our badges, so we won't have to wait and do the 10 rookie races. So that's also good, I love that. They're also starting to implement something that they're calling live stewarding. So for example, for intentional wrecks, this is now going to be gathering data all the time, not acting on that data just yet, but it's going to be gathering data in relation to intentional wrecks. So I assume, I don't know, could be some kind of AI model that's going to learn about the intentional wrecks and then eventually will be brought into the races themselves to actually give penalties out in relation to intentional wrecks. So again, that's awesome. The fact that we're working hard to try and make Le Mans Ultimate a better, friendlier, just a nicer, better place to race. Personally, I think this is awesome, and it's been a long time coming, let's be honest. So it's absolutely great to see stuff like this. This is probably one of the main complaints when it comes to Le Mans Ultimate, the standard of driving. Don't get me wrong, I've had some awesome races, but I've also had some absolute disgraceful ones too. So anything that helps clean up the service is massive to me. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant feature, and I'm looking forward to that being brought into the game. They're also bringing in anti-cheat. So as with any game, once it became more popular, people started cheating. Why you want to cheat, I'll never know. At the end of the day, you haven't done anything with any skill, it was a cheat. But hey ho, that's another video altogether. But they're bringing in easy anti-cheat. So from now on, you're going to have to make sure that you launch the game via Steam. You can't just launch it from the Le Mans Ultimate executable in the folder. You must launch the game via Steam. And that way then the anti-cheat can start and then you're covered by the anti-cheat. So what other features are there? Well, there's been changes to the damage model, so now the damage is more accurately reflected on the car itself, so that's a nice little change. And an absolutely huge one for me is that the tyres have been revisited again. Awesome, absolutely brilliant. So the GT3, LMP2 and LMP3, they still haven't touched the hypercars. Don't you touch my hypercars. I'm only joking, obviously. They've been revisited, so now hopefully I may find the GT3s fun to drive again. I know that I might be in the minority, but I find the GT3 is an absolute chore at this moment, and as such, I just refuse to drive them. So I'm looking forward to testing out those revisions of the tyres. Let's keep those fingers crossed. Apparently, these revisions are supposed to bring a more smooth degradation of grip rather than just on or off. So I'm really hoping that that's the case. That is going to be a massive thing that I'm looking forward to testing in the coming update. There's also a new telemetry system that's been added to the game, so you can now start recording your telemetry in a practice session, race session, whatever it may be, and then you can export that telemetry out so that you can have a look at your telemetry and see what it's like. Now, personally, don't use telemetry very often. However, for those of you that do, another awesome little feature. And a tiny but awesome quality of life feature, your custom liveries are now first. They're the first ones when it comes to picking your car, rather than having to go all the way to the end to pick your custom livery. Just a little tiny thing like that is awesome. There's also plenty of other little features that have been tweaked, but for that, we'll check the patch notes when they arrive. Now, we're still missing an LMP3 and the Circuit de Catalunya, which we're going to get at some point in the new year. And then after that, who knows what the guys and girls at Studio 397 are working on, but we'll keep our fingers crossed for some historic Le Mans Ultimate content. Overall, version 1.2 looks like it's going to be absolutely brilliant. I'm looking forward to testing it, and I'm looking forward to the public release on the 9th of December. Obviously, I'll be back to give my opinions on the update, and I'm really looking forward to it. As always, I've been the Reverend. Thank you very much for watching.